Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm here today to finally film the twins 2-month update. They are almost 2.5 months now, but I wanted to wait till after they had their actual doctor's appointment so I could update you on weight and things like that. So I'm going to jump right into it. I have Miss Peyton here joining me. She's passed out, so hopefully she'll stay quiet. Hudson's asleep in his swing. So like I said, I had their 2-month doctor's appointment just a couple days ago, and they weighed them and, did all the measurements and stuff like that. So Peyton is now 7 pounds 11 ounces. She was 5'11" when she was born, so she has gained about 2 pounds and grown about 2 inches in length. And Hudson was 4'15" when he was born, and he is now up to 8 pounds and 13 ounces. So he has gained quite a bit of weight in the last 2 months. Almost doubled his birth weight already, which is awesome. He has grown 2 inches as well in length, and I don't remember their head measurements, but I don't think that's quite as important as weight and height. So yeah, when the nurse measured them and I heard that, I was so excited. I felt really validated for my breastfeeding them. I thought, gosh, Hudson's already almost doubled his birth weight. Peyton, I know, is not a ton more. She's still teeny tiny. But I was excited to see that they are growing, and it's worth all the effort and hard work that I've been putting into breastfeeding them. But I was quickly discouraged as soon as the doctor walked in the room, because that was the first thing he just kind of picked apart, was that basically said that I was starving my children by breastfeeding them and that they needed to supplement with formula because they were dropping off the curve. All this stuff that was really kind of irritating, because he didn't ask me anything about how much I'm feeding them, how often I'm feeding them, their wet and poopy diapers, how they act. Just kind of jumped into just clearly off of the curve, which really irritates me, because I was a small baby. I was 18 pounds at a year. Weston was really small as a baby. He didn't grow quite with the curve either. And so I know that it's important that they are gaining weight at a, pretty normal pace. But they are growing. They're not staying put. So it's not like failure to thrive. They have a ton of wet and poopy diapers every day. And they're content after feedings. I know the cues to look for. I've nursed a son for a full year, and then these babies for 2 months. I've met with plenty of lactation consultants. I know that because I have to worry about getting clogged ducts and all that sort of stuff, that I do have a lot of milk. So I was really kind of discouraged and just irritated by his lack of bedside manner. Clearly, I know he has the kid's best interest in mind. I'm not, denying that. We both want our babies to be healthy. But I was just kind of frustrated that he didn't ask any other questions. So anyways, I'm going back in 2 weeks, and he wants to see them to have gained a pound, because they're supposed to gain about an ounce a day or a pound every 2 weeks. So hopefully you guys can be praying that they meet that requirement that he wants to see, so that way it can just become kind of a non-issue, and we don't have to go back for more weight checkups or then have him threaten me with more supplementing stuff. Bottom line is, I'm their parent and I don't have to do what he says, but I want them to be healthy, and I don't want it to be constantly like a battle question thing when I go in. So yeah, I thought they were doing great. It seems to me like everyone else thinks they're doing great. They don't seem hungry at all, so we'll see what happens. It was just kind of frustrating and discouraging. At their appointment, they did get their 2-month vaccines. It might be a controversial issue, but I'm very pro-vaccine. So if that bothers you, I'm sorry. But they handled it like champs. They got one oral vaccine. I think that's the polio. And then 3 others in their legs. And they had a little bit of a fever Friday night, very, very small, and just seemed a little bit uncomfortable, really sleepy. But other than that, they were fine. Just total normal reactions that my son had when he would get them. So they did really good. By Saturday, they were back to normal. And yeah, so other than that, as far as their sleeping patterns are going now, Peyton is much more of a mommy's girl. She wants to be held during the day a lot more. Even with other people, she's not as content as she is with me. And I don't know if that's because of how much time in the hospital she really spent with me, and Pat was in the NICU, my husband, with Hudson. But Hudson's a little bit more easily put down, so when he's asleep, he'll sleep, pretty much anywhere in his crib, in the pack and play on a swing. The only thing that they absolutely both hate is their car seats. Whenever we put them in the car seats, they just scream and scream and scream. It doesn't matter how long they're in them, they will scream the entire time, which is so sad. But they also look really uncomfortable because they're so small. So they're kind of all like squished in there. So I probably wouldn't want to be in there anyways. But during the day, so they kind of nap wherever right now. She naps a lot in my arms, which is probably not the best habit, but we'll work on transferring them to their rooms soon. I just got a sound machine for their room, so hopefully that will help them sleep in there a little bit better. At nighttime, they were sleeping in our room up until last night was their first night in their nursery, still in the rock and plays in our room. And they would get their last feeding around 9 o'clock at night. Then we would top them off with a bottle of breast milk just to make sure that they're really, really full for the night. Usually only like an ounce or two, so barely anything, but just a top off. And they would sleep from that 9:30 point after we finished, by the time we gave them their bottle and changed them and swaddled them and got them to sleep, usually around 9:30. And then they would sleep until about 3:30 or 4 in the morning, which is a really good stretch for us. I felt as soon as they started doing that, I felt like a new person. I felt like it was a really good stretch and I could handle things. And then after that feeding, we would swaddle them back up, and they usually go back to sleep until about 6:30 in the morning. And I'm trying to think. They feed, we change them, whatnot. Whether they go back to sleep after that feeding is really hit or miss. Sometimes they're ready and up for the day at that point, which is hard because then I have a hard time getting ready because they're usually fussy. But sometimes they'll go back to sleep, which is really nice because then I can choose whether to get up and get ready and enjoy a shower and just peace and quiet, or I can go back to sleep for a little bit longer with them too, depending on how the night before was. So they're doing really well. I cannot complain about the nighttime at all. I'd much rather have babies that don't nap well during the day and sleep really well at night. That's how Weston was too. So it's kind of funny that they're following suit already. But like I said, last night was their first night in the nursery. It gave me total anxiety and panic attacks, but they did really, really well. They ended up waking up a little bit earlier, but I'm thinking, I was so impressed because they're used to sleeping in a rock and play, which is kind of angled a little bit, and then their cribs are obviously flat. So that was one of the first times that they've slept completely on a flat surface. So they did really well. They woke up at, I think, 2:30, so just a little bit earlier than normal. But other than that, yeah, they did really great in there. So we're going to keep that up, hopefully start teaching them how to take naps in there during the day, which is going to be a lot of work. Sleep training is always lots of fun. So yeah, sleeping is going well. Personality-wise, Peyton is our inquisitive little girl. She always has really just the funniest faces looking around at the world, and she kind of frowns and furrows her eyebrows a lot. People always think she looks irritated at us, but she just has very expressive faces. Hudson is really either smiley or fussy. There's really nowhere in between with him. We joke that his little body can only handle one emotion at a time, and so he's either all smiles, huge, big, just light up your face smiles, or he's screaming. So it's kind of funny. He's very demanding. When he wants something, he gets what he wants. But he's also easier to put down when he's, tired and whatnot. So it's kind of funny. He just knows exactly. I know that when he eats, I know that about an hour after, he's going to want to be swaddled and put to sleep. And he actually smiles when he sees this swaddle. Shh. So yeah, that's their personalities. It's fun to see them grow and just become stronger. They're holding their heads up so well now, and even when we're holding them in a sitting position, they can they're wobbly obviously, but they have such good muscle control already. Peyton really enjoys tummy time. I'm a tummy sleeper myself, and I think that she probably will end up being one too once she's not swaddled and can roll around. Hudson hates it, however. He likes to be on his back and look up at his play mat and see the toys. So it's a little bit more work to get the tummy time in with him. So that's pretty much it for them. If there's any other questions that you have, obviously leave them below if I'm forgetting something, which I'm sure I am. It's a lot to try and remember everything to update you guys on with 2 babies instead of just 1. So as far as for me, postpartum recovery, I'm doing well. My C-section scar is finally completely healed, and I'm feeling really good. There's no more issues with the stitches coming out nasty like last time I talked about. Just really grossed me out. It's finally completely closed up and feels really fine. It's not tender at all anymore. Sometimes if I'm lifting and twisting, if I move kind of weird with my body, I will feel a little pinch or twinge. It's not painful at all. It just reminds me, oh, my muscles are probably still healing inside there. And it's only been 2 months. So breastfeeding, I think, is still the biggest issue, making sure that I am on top of feeding and pumping them so that way I don't get any clogged ducts. This last couple days I got a milk blister for the first time, which was really, really painful. So it's definitely been a lot of work, and that's why I was so discouraged when the doctor attacked me on it. So yeah, leave some encouragement below to keep up with the breastfeeding. I'm really hoping that we can make it to at least the 6-month mark, hopefully longer with them. So yeah, I'll try to see if I can leave some clips of the babies and just what they're doing below, either pictures or just videos of them, so you can hopefully see them cooing and talking and whatnot. But that's it, guys. I will talk to you later. Thanks so much for watching, and yeah, have a good day. Bye.
Mwah. 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 I love you. I love you. You're so happy.